What happens to a daughter who grows up always waiting to be chosen by her own mother?
Not because she wasn't enough, but because love was always just out of reach.
Before we go any further, I need to say this. This isn't about hurting anyone. It's not for attention. This is about truth and healing. The kind of healing the loudest critics rarely understand because they've never had to sit in silence and survive it.
Waiting for people to accept my truth almost destroyed me because every time I held back to protect someone else's comfort, I abandoned myself. I watered down my pain, questioned my memories, and stayed small so I wouldn't be called dramatic, bitter, or attention-seeking. But silence doesn't heal you, it haunts you. And the longer I waited for their validation, the more disconnected I became from my own voice. I finally had to ask myself, what if they never accept it? Do I stop healing? Or do I set myself free anyway? So this is me, telling my story with my voice in my time.
You know what, Chantel? I just recently come to my attention that you are easily replaced. You know, I don't know why I bother calling you, but that's neither here nor there. Meeting people like you makes me wish, one, that birth control was retroactive.
So after hearing that voicemail, how does that make you guys feel?
People say mean things because they feel like there is a connection between them and the person, right? So if I say something mean to you, my intentions are to hurt you because there has been some sort of bond created. So for me, the reason why I can't focus on a feeling right now is because I look at her and truth is she never created a bond and she allowed us, and no bond that's created can be broken. And she never had a bond because she involved us in abusive activities.
Right.
She neglected us. She left us. We were born in 83. We were wards of the state in 84. Right? And so she kept having kids, and those kids are all of her children, all 6 of her children are in foster care. And they all were in foster care due to abuse, neglect, all of that under her actions, her experiences she gave us. So I can't be shocked at the voicemail that she sent because she has no connection with us. She has walked around this earth abusing kids and only thinking about herself, trying to get rid of the problem. Where I have feelings is the evidence of I had a birth mother that didn't create a bond with me. And then I also have an adopted mother who didn't create a bond with me. So what hurts me is that I never had the opportunity to receive a motherly love.
I guess for me, it honestly hurts because it's like, dang, none of you bitches wanted us. And then you have the nerve to call me and rub it in my face. And this isn't the first time she's said that she wished she had an abortion. Like, this is what she does. She gets this wild hair up her ass, and she constantly loves to remind me and my sister how much she never wanted us.
How many times have you guys gone through this with your biological mother?
Gosh.
So
this has been going on since we were 21. Her mother had MS. She was a capable human being. She was capable of...
Do you know when she was diagnosed with MS?
This is within the last 5 years. It's gotten really bad. Wouldn't you say?
So to answer the question, she was probably diagnosed, I want to say 14 years ago. So one encounter I had with her, my very first encounter, she was very healthy. You know, she drove, she met at some like brunch place. We met there and we ate. And I remember her just staring at me, and I could tell that was a very like it was an intentional experience for her to stare at me, to study me. She took my hands. She didn't ask for my permission, but she took my hands in a very graceful way. She studied my hands. She studied my fingers. You know, she turned them around. And then she's like, you have your granddad's like eyes, because, you know, her dad's eyes are kind of like squinty, you know. And so she was like, oh, you definitely have your dad's lips, you know, you definitely have this. So she was going over like who I resembled to her.
She was admiring her baby for the first time.
Right, right. And I really believe that was the most vulnerable, uninterrupted connection she probably had that didn't, you know, involve abuse or didn't involve any type of like cognitive dissonance, you know. So when I experienced that with her, it almost like made me feel like I was with my mom, you know, because when you have babies and you look at them and you're, you know, like you're just totally admiring what that baby pulled, you know, what parent the baby pulled from. So that was the only experience. And then right after that, you know, she was in this daze of her child. She asked me if I wanted to go smoke weed.
Ew.
Yeah. So I say that to say, like, you know, I've only had one experience that was genuine, and the rest have been very extremely intoxicated and just very abusive.
You know, Elnora, do you remember how I keep telling you this is so confusing?
Yeah.
That voicemail confuses me even more. It's
Why?
The reason why it's so confusing because it's just like, it's like, dang, if my own mother can't love me and fulfill and just be there for me, like, who, honestly, it's like, who are these people? How did we get this hand? How did we get these cards that was dealt? Not only does our biological mom call us and try to haunt us with her crazy, horrible words, which she's been doing prior to her diagnosis, our adopted mother is allowing us and making sure that we feel less than. It's
so that it's an unfortunate,
the rejection. It's the rejection is like a deep wound. That's a part of the infection that goes on inside of me. This is why I've made a lot of choices, because I felt like no one ever cared. No adult woman ever cared. And listening to that voicemail, I believe it.
Right. Well, the evidence was during our very crucial years of like brain development, the evidence is that nobody cared. The caregivers and caretakers in our lives, nobody cared.
Well,
you know,
and then not only that, the rejection, it disrupts our emotional safety. It is such,
feeling that, being so familiar to rejection, one of the things that I have a hard time working through is recovering or restoring with good people. So disappointment is inevitable, right? It just depends on what scene it's.
I just have another question to ask you guys too. So coming to the conclusion, you know, your guys' biological birth mother, you know, just wasn't in her right mind to care for you, then and now, you know, and then unpacking how you grew up with your adopted mother and, you know, unpacking some of those truths with the relationship that you guys have with your adopted mother. How does not having a relationship or a healthy relationship with either of them affect your guys' parenting?
Eleonora, for me and how I raised my kids, I think it affected me in stages of their age, right? So as babies, I was very protective, very loving, very talk to them, very intentional about everything. But as soon as like they came to the part of like, using their own decision-making skills, I really didn't have that training to actually bring up my child to try to figure out who the child was. It was more of a dictatorship because that's how my adopted mother was. So also I missed a lot. I wasn't present during a lot of even my births, the kids' birthday parties, because all I wanted was my parents to show up and they never showed up. So it seemed like it was always a funeral for big occasions, birthdays, Christmases. Man, I would cry all the time during even sports events, and I would look around and they would never be there, So it really, for me as a mother, it shifted my attention to detail towards them wanting the parents or my adopted parents to support me. And I just really lived and obsessed and thought about how much could they support me, if that makes sense.
No, actually, I like how you said, like, because this is Chantal, I totally am there with you. When I remember my daughters, when I had the cognitive space to be present for Tamari, and she was playing volleyball and I was watching her have so much fun, and I couldn't figure out why I was so sad. And I wanted to celebrate that moment, but I was so sad because, like, Tamari got a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like, she got a real, Tamari has a chance. She gets a great chance. And to answer your question, Tamari, Mom tricked us. Our biological mother tricked us out of parenthood, out of motherhood. They tried to take it from us, and they molded it into this nasty game, and they turned two beautiful twins away from each other. And they said, they showed me that motherhood was about their trauma and what they went through, and you have to accept the bare minimum because they went through what they went through, and we had to process there, and we had to walk on eggshells, and we got to listen to all this abusive things from our biological mother and our adopted mother. It was like we were their punching bags. So because we had to somehow make them feel better about what they did to us, we became so hypersensitive to our children's needs as babies that when it came to when you were growing up and you turned 13, I was stuck. I didn't know what to do because my own daughter had a voice. I remember when Tamari was a baby, I told her this last night. I was looking at her when she was a baby and I was like, I'm so afraid that I'm going to hurt my child, because that's what happened to me. Like, I felt like that was in our blood to denounce our children, to dismiss them, to hurt them, to like, I felt like when I was a teen mom, I was so scared that there was some demon that was going to come inside me and I was going to be evil to my daughter because that's all I saw. You know what I'm saying? But that was a lie. Like, that's not true. Hurt people don't hurt people. So let me ask you this question. As an amazing mom of who you are, how has us, how have we affected your motherhood?
Always joked about this like forever, but like I really do have two moms. I really was raised by two severely neglected, emotionally abused teenagers. You guys have taught me how to be resourceful. You guys have taught me how to be nurturing. You guys have influenced my motherhood by just showing me that you guys are there for me. And I can physically witness that no one is there for you guys. So that brings me just such a safe space. I feel so safe as a mother because I know that I have two mothers that will do anything for me. I'm very confident that I can call you for anything, and I know that you're going to be there for me. I know that Namari can call you for anything and you will be there for him. You have been there for me in so many tough situations. Auntie Nono's been there for me in so many tough situations. You guys really help influence. I'm okay. Why are you crying?
Because, like, it skipped. It didn't get to you.
Yeah. Had no choice but to get through it. And I feel like if it wasn't for you and my aunt, I just thought, honestly, it's just, you don't want to go through shit alone. Because you don't deserve that. Women don't deserve to harbor pain and hurt and agony alone. And it's really hard when you don't have a healthy spouse. It's hard when you're not getting therapy. It's hard when you don't trust your support system because you're afraid of what they'll say or what they'll repeat. But honestly, I felt like if it wasn't for you or Auntie Nono, I don't think I could have even got through my pregnancy. You know, you guys really showed me that unfortunately we're not going to get these apologies. We're not going to get things that are owed to us or that we feel are owed to us. And I think some people fail to ignore that even if it's not an apology, confronting fear head on is a good enough excuse for anybody to do anything. And that's something that they teach you in daily affirmations, self-help books. Do one thing that you're afraid of at least once a day. And, you know, it takes a lot of courage to do what you're doing. It takes a lot of strength to do what you're doing. You're not perfect by any means necessary, but you're not saying that you are. And they always tell you God has a plan. God has a plan and a purpose for all of his children. And the greatest thing that you can experience in a lifetime that a lot of people don't get to experience is God's purpose for you on earth. And I remember always thinking, like, I would thank God for the day. I would thank God for whatever food I had to eat that day. And then I would say, and thank you, God, for giving my mom and my aunt another day to find their purpose.